Water? Yeah, it's wet. Okay, let me show you. First, we need to figure out what wet is. Well, it means a surface that can be dried, that is covered in or surrounded by water. Now, first, we'll think of by water or another liquid. Now, water itself can exist as a liquid. All right, a single molecule of water is not a liquid because a liquid is a bunch of water molecules flowing together, sticking together, surrounding each other, going together. They surround each other. So water surrounding each other, making it wet. But that's not the only part of the definition. Can water be dried? Okay. So if we are to assume that this ice cube here is dry, and we assume that water is wet, simply heating up this ice cube will make it wet. This dry ice cube will become wet water. If we take this burner here, I'm going to be a little bit careful here, but as you can see, look at that. It's being made wet because it is being turned into water. And water. So if ice is dry, it can be made wet. Now, if something is wet, it can be made dry. How can we do that? Well, we can freeze the water and make an ice cube, which is dry, or we can make it into a gas, which is dry because it's not covered in a liquid. So if a gas is not a liquid, so if gas is not covered in a liquid, making it dry, and water is covered in a wet, who is to assume that turning water into will make it dry? Sorry for that cut there. I accidentally stopped recording. Anyway, so here, let me show you my experiment. I'm going to grab a glass. I'm going to fill it with water. I'm going to turn the burner back on. And I'm going to pour the water, and you're going to see what happens. Now, as soon as I turn it off, actually, wait a minute. Oh, won't you look at that? There's steam. See, look. See, the water, if water is the substance, then water is being removed from the water. See? Water is being removed from the water, making it dry. So water can be dried by heating up to make a gas or freezing it to be a solid. Because if a solid, unless the ice has some part of it that's melted, it's not wet. But the gas is dry, and we can make that. We can liquefy that. We can make the steam. We can make that wet, because the steam, if the gas is dry, because it cannot be covered in water because it's a gas. It cannot be covered in a liquid because it is gas. This water here, all right, is a liquid, and it covers itself. Therefore, it is wet, and it can be dried, as you can see. And in its dry state, it can be made, and dry water can be made wet. Water is wet.